Okay, this is C3702, Introduction to Environmental Engineering, Topic 7, Solid Waste Management. So based on our definition of environmental engineering, this falls under definition number 2, the proper management or proper disposal of solid waste and wastewater. So we'll discuss that one. So the learning objectives for this are basically define, classify, and characterize the solid waste and discuss the solid waste management technologies. So this is course learning outcome number 6. It has two sections, two part of it. So one part is the solid waste, other part one is hazardous waste. So this topic 7 will cover the solid waste part of it. So here are the topic 7 outline. Introduction to solid waste management, basically waste management, definition and types of solid waste from regulatory and technical point of view. Then we'll see the characteristics of solid waste, generation rate, and the process for storage, collection, treatment, and disposal. And we'll see a little bit of perspective, waste recycling and reuse, and ultimate disposal of solid waste. So these are the topic we'll be discussing in here. So here are the learning outcomes for this topic that will align directly to course learning outcome number 6.1, part of the 6. So define, classify, and characterize solid waste. Comprehend the generation rate of solid waste in different regions and climate. Describe the process for storage, collection, treatment, disposal, and perspective. Define waste recycling, reuse, and recovery. These are very important terms that we will define. Discuss the importance of recycling, reuse, and recovery. Explain the ultimate disposal options for solid waste. So as we discussed before, or maybe some of the cases that any discarded as useless or unwanted materials are waste. There are broadly, waste can be classified broadly into two categories, liquid waste and solid waste. So, and we'll see some solid waste are managed into landfill, and liquid waste are treated in wastewater treatment plant facilities and ultimately discharged into natural water bodies. So here is the regulatory definition of solid waste. So materials are solid waste if they are used, reused, or reclaimed, or accumulated, stored, or treated before such use, reuse, or reclamation, when they are regulated as hazardous waste under the hazardous waste regulations, or used in a manner constituting disposal by being applied to or placed in a land, or applied to a place otherwise contained in products at the landfill and other areas, cases like that, and burned to recover energy, used to produce fuel, or contained in fuels. In this case, the fuel so containing remains a solid waste, or reclaimed or accumulated speculatively. Here is the definition of speculatively accumulated materials. So meaning in this case, if every year 70% of the materials are removed, then it's not called speculatively accumulated material, 75 or more. If it is not removed 75% or more material from there, then it is considered as a speculatively accumulated material. So here is the solid waste categories and other things. Solid waste can be classified into two: non-hazardous waste and hazardous waste. Non-hazardous waste, basically we call it solid waste. Then the main thing would be the topic in this topic 7 that we are discussing. And the non-hazardous waste means municipal solid waste, industrial waste. So it could be even agricultural waste is a part of it. And industrial waste could be part of C&D, medical, special, and treatment of those required. And hazardous waste that we'll discuss in topic 8, the last topic of this course, could be household waste and industrial waste. So industrial could be listed, universal, characteristic, and mixed. So we'll discuss all of those in there in topic. This is the solid waste categories and other things as we discussed. an overview of solid waste management. Basically, to assess the management possibility, it is important to consider the following things: material flow in the society, reduction in raw material usage, reduction in solid waste quantities, and reuse of waste materials, materials recovery, energy recovery, and day-to-day waste management. So here is the materials flow in the society. Looks like raw materials may be coming from any source. Residual debris goes as in waste, and then it goes to manufacturer. So some part of becomes this, then it can go to secondary manufacturer. Then from here it goes to consumer. Then it could be some kind of waste, goes to recovery, it is processed, and from here it goes to manufacturer again. And here could be some of the final disposal too. And from secondary manufacturing, it can go to the final disposal. So this is the materials flow in the society that happens. Reduction in raw materials usage. If a reduction in the usage of raw material is to occur either in input or output, must be reduced. Raw material usage can be reduced most effectively by reducing the quantity of municipal and industrial waste. So specifically raw materials, like whatever we buy or whatever we use, probably it should be try to use almost 100%, not waste any more of those things to meet this requirement. Reduction in solid waste quantities. Reduction it can be done in several ways. The amount of material used in the manufacture or a product can be reduced. The useful life of a product can be increased. Like say, if we build a car that goes 100 years, then within 100 years we may not need to buy any or build any more car. So this will definitely reduce the solid waste quantities. The amount of materials used for packaging and marketing consumer goods can be reduced. So reuse of waste materials, reuse or recycling. So some of the cases, like so whatever we buy from different store, if we can reuse it, would be a great idea. For example, the paper bags used to bring home groceries out to store household waste prior to placing them into the containers are used for the storage and collection. Soup and vegetable containers are used to store cooking grease, and so on. Newspaper can be used to fire the fireplaces and other things. So materials recovery. A number of materials present in the municipal solid waste are suitable for recovery. So and those are most commonly recovered from solid waste are listed in table in a handout. So I think the handout should be somewhere there. Basically, the region, there are 4 regions in the US. This shows the number of facility and estimated throughput ton per year. Looks like we do about like recover 50,000 tons per year. Around 50,000 tons. Throughput is estimated at 70% capacity. So in this case, this is 2005 data from the USA. Here are some of the material recovery. I have it till 2006. So combusted looks like 31 point this, I think in million tons, 81.8 million tons. Landfill is 138. Total is 251.4 million ton. And these are in percentage: 12% combusted, 32.5% recovered, and landfill is 55. Total 100%. I think this is going up now. Recovery and combusting going up, but still it is total is 45% here, looks like. So this material recovery in the USA 1960 to 2005. So looks like these are the material discarded including combustion and energy up to that point. So then this is the generation and discarded. The differences is the recovery that we recovered. So recovery, it looks like increasing with the time. Materials recovered in the USA from 1960 to 2005. This gives us the material types as well as the recovery percentage in 70, 80, 90, 2000 and 2005. So it looks like lead acid battery is 99% we are recovering. Paper 50%, probably this can go up, right? So this is not that great, so it should go up. Energy recovery, since about 70% of the components that comprise solid waste are organic, the potential for the recovery of energy is very high. So the energy contained in the organic matter must be converted to a form of that can be used more easily. Recovery of heat by burning organic materials and solid waste is a good example of energy recovery that we can use in the boiler heating and other things like that. Here are some of the statistics in the USA for material energy recovery. The region-wise looks like total 88. These are the different regional-wise operation, and here are the total 98,000 plus tons per day is the capacity that we can do in the USA. So then a little overview of the solid waste management. This is our view. Means packaging changes in the packaging design could be one of them. The background composting and grass can reduce it. Then these are the source reduction. Then changes in the purchasing habits, increased in reuse, changes in industrial practices, other changes in use patterns. So these are the source. And then this is the generation waste management. Then recovery, recycling, including composting, can divert some of this combustion and with energy recovery, and remaining goes to a landfill. Looks like this is the source reduction, this is the total waste reduction up to point. That after that point, definitely this will go to landfill or other waste disposal facilities. So this is currently is close to 55%, but we'd like to reduce it as soon as possible. Day-to-day solid waste management is a complex and costly undertaking. The direct activities that must be considered and coordinated on a daily basis, including waste generation rates, storage, collection, transport, and the recovery and final disposal. The indirect activities are associated directly with the management of solid waste, including financing, operation, equipment, personnel, cost accounting, budgeting, contract administration, ordinance guidelines, and public communication. These are very important undertaking to know for day-to-day solid waste management. So here is the flowchart that shows the day-to-day solid waste management activity. We generate the waste, then store it in our trash can. Then somebody comes and collect it like once a week. They can take it to transfer station or go to the recovery processing, and it can do from transfer to recovery processing and vice versa. From collection can go to directly to the disposal site, and here from here it can go to disposal site also, depending on how much they can recover. And from here, after recovery, the remaining goes to the disposal. So the waste management hierarchy. So basically this is least favorite and most favorite. Prevention is the best option, then minimize, then reuse, recycle, energy recovery, and disposal. So these are basically the ways that we do the hierarchy of waste management. So recent changes in EPA shows the following hierarchy in 2017. That means it makes like say 4 out of the 6. Over there was 6, now it is 4. They combined some of it. Like the first one is source reduction and reuse. Second one is recycling and composting. Third one is energy recovery. Fourth one is the treatment and disposal. So these are the least preference. This is the best preference. It shows other way down, but they are changing it to like that. So, solid waste categories. There are 3 categories of solid waste: municipal solid waste, industrial waste, and hazardous waste. There are 3 of those. So, MSW may be categorized municipal solid waste, garbage, food waste, milk contain cartons, and coffee ground. These are part of the food waste, maybe more. Rubbish, combustible with some inert. Refuse 50-50 mix of garbage and rubbish. Metal, scrap, wallboard, and empty container. Trash is 100% combustible. So that's how we can define those in there. Okay. Here are some more categories other than the 3. It says total 9 categories. Some of them can be, they were the before kind of this, but nowadays these are consolidated into 3. But if we read those, the municipal waste, industrial, hazardous, medical waste, universal waste, CDD waste, radioactive, mining, and agricultural waste. These are the different categories of solid waste. So here are more categories. A little bit of description of the categories. Municipal solid normally composed of residential, commercial, institutional are called MSW. So here are some of the sources that I explain more in here. Okay. So we'll stop here for this one.